We have some major breaking news as it has been announced that Gene Haas will retain one of the Stewart-Haas Racing Charters that is being sold. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to the video. As I just said a second ago, we've got some pretty major breaking news as it's been announced that Gene Haas will retain one of the Stewart-Haas Racing Charters going into 2025. According to Bob Pockrass and many other reporters, Gene Haas will retain one SA charter for new entry Haas Factory Team. It will also have two car Xfinity Series program. Will operate out of current Stewart-Haas Racing facility. Joe Custer will run the operation. No mention of driver, sponsor, or manufacturer in the news release. Here's what Gene Haas had to say. Gene Haas on keeping one Cup charter. My commitment to motorsports hasn't changed, just the scope of my involvement. Operating a four-car Cup Series team has been too arduous, but at the same time, I still need a platform to promote Haas Automation and grow HaasTooling.com. This has been rumored over the course of the last few weeks that Gene Haas was going to be retaining one of the Stewart-Haas Racing Charters. There had been some chatter that Richard Childress Racing was going to get one of those charters from SHR. They were going to get the fourth charter, but now we have confirmation that Gene Haas is still going to be involved in the sport. Now there's a lot of theories going around that maybe Tony Stewart had lost complete interest altogether, and maybe Tony was the big reason why Stewart-Haas Racing is closing down altogether. This will mean that Haas will still be in the NASCAR Cup Series and the Xfinity Series as well. Now, my big question is, what does this mean for a lot of the parties? Number one, let's begin by talking about the Cup Series team. I think most likely this is where Cole Custer is going to end up. And my prediction right now is that they're going to use the number 41 or they're going to use the number 4. I think that is where that number will be for next year, 2025. And I think the number will be 41 for Cole Custer. That was Cole Custer's number back in 2020 through 2022. And when, of course, he was in the NASCAR Cup Series, obviously Ryan Preece went over that seat in 2023 when it was Stewart-Haas Racing. But I expect that Cole Custer is going to be the driver, considering Joe is involved in a pretty heavy way. But now we need to also talk about the NASCAR Xfinity Series program. Who are going to be the drivers for the Xfinity program? Well, I think there's a really good chance that maybe Riley Herbst could stick around, though there's a lot of rumors and chatter that Riley Herbst is looking to move up to the Cup Series in 2025. Riley Herbst has sponsorship and funding, and there's been some rumors and chatter that he can go to 23XI Racing next year, but there's also rumors and chatter that Riley Herbst could also go over to the Wood Brothers next season as well. Then you've also got Hailie Deegan. Hailie Deegan, she's under a multi-year contract with AM Racing currently, but if they decide to stay with Ford, I imagine she could be a candidate for one of these seats going into next year. You've also got Jake Garcia and Ty Majeski as potential candidates in the Ford camp. You've also got to look if they switch manufacturers over maybe to, let's say, Chevrolet or go back to Chevy because they were a Chevy team for many years. You could have some drivers in the Truck Series move up there. You could have a Christian Eckes move up. There's been rumors and chatter circulating that Christian Eckes could move up to the NASCAR Cup Series next year or move up to Xfinity potentially. He was one of the drivers that was rumored to go to the 2-car last year for this season before Jesse Love took over that seat. That could be a potential possibility. I also imagine Matt DiBenedetto could be a candidate, though I will say he's probably going to stay with Viking Motorsports in the 2025 season, so that could be an option as well. I am glad to see that some remnants of the Stewart-Haas Racing team are going to be around next year, but I really am good and intrigued to see what other stuff comes out from it. My other question is where are those other two charters going to go? We know Front Row Motorsports is going to acquire one of those charters going into the 2025 season. And my speculation is that originally I thought maybe Cole Custer was going to go to the 34. But now with the fact that we know that this Haas Factory Team is going to be around next season, I think that's kind of changed my thought. If Noah Gragson doesn't go over to Richard Childress Racing like it's kind of rumored at the moment, could this be potentially where Riley Herbst ends up going? That could be a potential possibility. Could this be where someone else goes? Who knows at this particular point? As for the other two charters, we are expecting that Trackhouse and 23XI Racing are going to pick up those charters. We know Trackhouse is going to expand to a 3-car operation next year. We do know that Shane Van Gisbergen most likely is going to get the 3rd seat, and Zane Smith could be the odd man out. This could lead Zane Smith to going back to Front Row potentially. That could lead him going back there. You've also, the other one is going to go to 23XI. And I know there's been rumor and speculation that Riley Herbst could go back to that team, but I think that this is where Corey Heim is going to end up. I know some people mentioned Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Chandler Smith, Eric Almirola's possibilities, but I think that Corey Heim is going to get the seat. We also know that Bubba Wallace is going to sign a multi-year contract extension with 23XI that's probably going to be announced in the not-so-distant future. So it could probably at least be a 2 or 3 year deal, as this technically is a contract year for Bubba Wallace. There's some other big moves that are on the table as well. Kyle Busch announced recently that he just signed a multi-year extension with Stewart-Haas Racing, or at least has a contract through 2025. He's been kind of talking about his future. He says if someone wanted to call him up and he can go to another team, he could. Chandler Smith's also on the market for a potential ride going to 2025 as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of the silly season plays out. But it's good to see that at least there'll be a new Cup Series team. Technically, it really isn't going to be a new team. It's just going to be Stewart-Haas Racing, not going to be a thing. But the Haas Factory Team will be a new organization next season. There'll be more details and information that comes out as time progresses and goes on. But like I said, I do expect that this is the ride that Cole Custer is going to end up driving in 2025. It's going to be very interesting to see how things play out for the rest of the silly season, because there's so much chaos that's happened this year. From the fact that Stewart-Haas Racing shutting down, to this new organization of Haas Racing Factory Team, to a couple other things. Trackhouse being a 3-car team next year of SVG, Mark Truex Jr. retiring, and Chase Briscoe going to Joe Gibbs Racing full-time most likely next season, to Noah Gragson potentially going to Richard Childress Racing. I think there's a lot of things that are on the table and up in air, but I think there's a lot of big moves that are going to happen the rest of the silly season. I think it is going to open up the market for a lot of big moves. The rookie class could be really big next year, and there could be some other drivers that are on the move that we don't know at this point. We are expecting that Justin Haley's going to stay at Rick Ware Racing. There's been rumors and chatter he can go to the Wood Brothers, but I expect he's going to stay at Rick Ware Racing next year. Like I said, there's a lot of big moves that need to happen through the rest of the silly season, and we're going to know that here as time progresses and goes on what will happen through the rest of the NASCAR silly season. So that is going to be today's special breaking news report. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support on Patreon as well. Links are below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are the thoughts about the new Haas Factory Team coming to the Cup Series? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And who do you think will be in their NASCAR Xfinity Series program and their Cup Series program? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to be doing 2025 NASCAR silly season predictions with this new news coming out that's kind of changed my predictions for the 2025 silly season. We're also going to have some other videos dropping of any other major news breaks throughout the rest of the week. We're also going to have reactions to the New Hampshire race this weekend. We'll be talking about it if the weather can hold up. We'll have reactions to Xfinity and the Cup race in New Hampshire. And then on Monday, we should have a NASCAR news video if the Cup Series race ends up happening on Sunday. If not, you'll see the Cup Series race review on Monday. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.